Hey guys, what's up and welcome to today's video. We are going to be playing with some brand new holiday sets from Tarte. I have tried to film this video, I want to say 4 times. The first time I tried to film it, the audio didn't work. And then the last 2 times, for some reason, my battery just decided that it didn't want to charge. Here we are. Hopefully 3rd or 4th time is a charm, I guess. What I have in front of me is their brand new Amazonian clay cheek wardrobe, as well as their Tartelette Give, Gift, and Get brand new 9-pan eyeshadow trio. So I'm going to be dipping into these today. So with that being said, let's just jump into it and let's play with some brand new products from Tarte. All right, so let's start off with the blush trios. So here's what they look like. I think the packaging is absolutely adorable. What's fun with something like this is that if you have a makeup lover or if you like to give away makeup as a gift, you can buy these and kind of, you know, keep one for yourself and give the other 2 away. They make great stocking stuffers, and at 35 bucks, I mean, the price really can't be beat. But let's talk about the formula on the inside. As I mentioned, this is their Amazonian clay formula, which is hands down, in my opinion, one of the best blush formulas on the market. It is so long wearing, it blends beautifully, it never looks choppy or chalky, and it comes in a ton of different shades. So let's just take a look. I'll just start with this trio that I have right here in my hand. So let me show you how these kind of unfold. So this is super cute. So you can open this up right here. You've got a mirror. And this one right here, we have like a highlighter. If you have a deeper skin tone, this can also be used as kind of like a blush or a bronzer topper. And then you can go like this, and it just kind of unfolds like so. Super compact, super convenient. My only thing is that I wish the pan sizes were just a little bit slightly bigger. This is a little bit small for me for like a blush or bronzer pan. Highlight you can get away with. I just wish that the pans were a little bit larger. So this trio right here is the first one. So you have Frosted Frappe right here. The second shade is Sweet Cheeks, and then we have Sugar and Spice. I hope my camera is focusing so you guys can see all of these. Let's go ahead and move on to the next trio right here. It's got like a kind of lavender reflective purple top. Oh, I got it upside down. Open it up, and then we have a blush in the shade Yours Truly. Then we have another blush, the shade Into You, and then another blush, and that is in the shade Playtime. All of these except for the top one. So this one here has a little bit of shimmer in it, and then these 2 are a more matte formula right here. I love the blush shades in this trio. Totally up my alley. Peachy pink. Oh, so good. And then lastly, we have the gold trio, as I will call it. So this one has at the top Let It Glow, which is a highlighter, and it's absolutely stunning. Then we have a blush in the shade I Am Smitten, and then we have the bronzer in the shade Gettin' Toasty. So this bronzer is more of a satin shimmery finish. I do just want to mention that. And then the blush in this trio is a matte blush. I don't have any blush or bronzer on really. I just contoured, and that's about it. For the bronzer, I'm just going to use this Morphe brush right here. This is the E34, something a little bit more compact because, like I noted, the pans are a little bit on the small side. So we're just going to go ahead and dip into this. Not a lot of kick up. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of stipple this on the cheeks just to kind of warm things up. It's a very beautiful bronzer shade. I do like that it is very buildable. It looks very flush and beautiful on the skin, and I think it just gives you that perfect bronzy glow. I did mention that it is more of like a satin finish, but it definitely doesn't look heavy or like there's chunky glitter or shimmer on the skin at all. It just looks really beautiful. I do like that there is these little mirrors in here. If you are someone who travels, this is nice because in this particular trio, the one I'm using right now, you have the highlighter, you have a blush, and then you also have a bronzer. Now this brush, just to show you for pan size, you can see that this fits perfectly in there. Obviously you can get a larger brush in there. I've done it. Obviously, like I said, I've tried to play with this and record this video several times, but you can. I just prefer, like I said, I don't want to sound like a broken record. I just prefer a little bit larger of a pan with bronzers and blushes. Let's go ahead and dip into a blush. I don't know which blush I want to use. I think I'm going to go into this peachy shade right here, Sweet Cheeks. Love a blush shade like that. I'm going to take this Luxie brush. This is the 640 Pro Precision Tapered. I like more flimsy brushes like this for blush. Gives you more of a sheer wash of color without it looking too heavy. Note if you ever want to lift your cheeks, apply your blush here and kind of sweep upwards instead of focusing so much on the apples of your cheeks. You can definitely do that. I like to put a little bit there, but if you want to give yourself a more lifted look, definitely put your blush kind of in this area. Just a little tip while we're at it. So as you can see, even using just this kind of like a more fluffy, very, very loosely packed brush, we're getting a lot of good payoff here. Just look how gorgeous this looks on the skin. To get all of these for 35 bucks, definitely impressed, especially because of the formula. It just blends so nice and sits so beautifully on the skin. I mean, it definitely makes my skin look quite poreless. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous formula. Let's go ahead and just layer this blush up. Why not? I'm gonna go in with this shade right here. This is Yours Truly. It's a little bit more of a pinky shade and it has a shimmer in it. It's kind of like a little bit more of a deeper version of the NARS Orgasm blush. That's definitely what it reminds me of. It also reminds me a little bit of a shade that's in my Tarteist Blush and Glow palette, which I absolutely love. I always forget about it though. It's so freaking good. One of my favorite blush palettes ever. That's really pretty too. So that one I said has a little bit more of like that shimmery hint to it, and I can definitely see that putting it on the cheeks. Now let's go ahead and dip into a highlighter, but before we do that, I want to set my skin down a bit with a little bit of setting spray. Always do a test spray because I do have quite a bit of powder on my face right now. Another tip, I always like to set my makeup down before I put down a highlighter. I just feel like my highlighter lays down more so like it looks like it's sinking into the skin versus just sitting on top if I have a more hydrated set down base. I did use the Ciate London Everyday Vacay Setting Spray, which smells amazing. I know fragrance products aren't the best for your skin, but I have to tell you that stuff smells really freaking good. Let's get some highlight on the skin. And I'm just going to use this brush from Laura Lee. This is the L12 for those who are wondering. I'm just going to go ahead and lightly brush that on the tops of the cheeks. Look how stunning that is. It's such a beautiful shade. I will say that I don't think that this is going to go very well on deeper skin tones. Obviously, for me, it is almost too light, but it's not. I just have to kind of sheer it out a bit because I can kind of see a little bit of a cast. That's okay. I can blend it out. I don't know what's going on. My tan from the sun and just being outside this summer has lasted so much longer than what I'm used to. I'm like, usually this fades by now, but it's still here. But nonetheless, that is a gorgeous highlight. Like, it's blinding. A little bit on the nose. My nose contour is a bit crazy today, but whatever, it is what it is. That is the 3 blush highlight bronzer palettes. Absolutely stunning. I honestly can't recommend these enough. I think that they are beautiful. They blend beautifully. The color selection in each one, I think it's great. Like I said, if there's a trio in here that you're like, that's okay, but I'm not super interested in it, then you can totally give it away as a gift. I just think they work beautifully. And again, for the price, $35, like, are you kidding me? You can't go wrong. It's gorgeous. Beautiful highlights, beautiful bronzer, beautiful blushes, solid product all around. Let's move on to the eyeshadows. This is what I am most excited for. So I just want to touch on a couple of things quickly. It says there are 27 shadows, obviously, between the 3 palettes here, but there are 18 new shades. Now, I believe this entire set is $49, which is insane. I mean, that is an insane value. To get 3 9-pan shadow palettes for 49 bucks, I mean, seriously, that is a steal. I'm kind of shocked at the price. So let's start off with the first trio. This is the Lil Bloom palette. So this one to me has more cooler tone shades in it. Now, there is a fantastic mirror on the inside. I do want to mention that. The quality of the mirrors inside of this palette, A+. They are so good. And then look at the size of the pans in these palettes. This color story is absolutely gorgeous. Now you're probably wondering why this one looks a little funny, but that's because I was mixing this shade and that shade together, so please excuse that. Absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, they are a bit more cool tone, which is something that I don't typically reach for all the time, but it is nice to have these types of shades in my collection because, again, I really don't have a lot of cool tones in my collection. The mattes are super buttery smooth. The metallics are really nice as well. They have a lot of dimension. I have played with the formula both wet and dry as far as the metallics go in this palette, and I was pretty impressed. So there's that one. Next, we have the Tarte Lil Toasted palette. This is my favorite packaging of all time. I have to say, out of any palette that I own, this is one one of my all-time favorites. I love this kind of tortoiseshell packaging, and it definitely feels very hot and toasty. Again, same mirror on the inside, and then you've got all of the shadows here. Now this one speaks to me a bit more. This is more up my alley. I do tend to gravitate more towards warmer shadows. That's just me. It is how it is. I just feel like they look the best with my skin tone. The only thing I wish that was in this palette, I would have swapped out one of these two shades and put a little bit more of like a brighter metallic in here so that you could highlight the inner corners or the brow bone. There really isn't a metallic highlight shade in here. You do have this matte shade right here. I just wish that there was a lighter, more champagne metallic shade. The nice thing is that this comes in a trio of palettes, so you can reach in and grab this shade right here. And maybe that's what their thinking was, you know, dip into the Lil Bloom palette and then you would have that highlight shade. Now last but certainly not least, we have the Tarte Lil Juicy palette. Now they are saying that this is a sneak peek. I think that there might be a larger version of this palette launching at some point. I think that the packaging on this is super cute as well. How beautiful is this? So this one has all brand new shades in it. So all 9 shades are brand new. And again, this is another one that is right up my alley. I love my mauvey plum tones. Perfect if you have brown eyes. These are the types of colors that just pop for me personally. And I love the color story of this. This has to be my favorite color story out of all 3 palettes. I think that it is the most balanced. I think it is the most complete. So today, since this is the brand new palette, these are all the brand new shades, we are going to be playing primarily with this palette right here, the Lil Juicy palette. So let me go ahead and zoom you guys in so we can create a look using this palette. So obviously my eyelids are good and primed. Let's dip into this beautiful Lil Juicy palette. I've been playing with this, so I'm a little bit more familiar with the color story and what I want to do with this, which is really nice. So I can sit down and really create a nice look for you guys. So I'm just going to start off with this shade right here. I do want to mention that all the shades are listed on the back. That's not my favorite, but it is what it is. So we're using this shade right here in the palette. I'm going to take my Sigma E38. Now I always like to show you guys the pigment that picks up on the brush here if my camera would focus. So I did just dip in one time. There is a bit of kick up, but nothing too insane. I'm just going to start by working that into the crease. I always start in the center and then kind of work my way out. And since I have hooded eyes, I like to do my eyeshadow with my eyes primarily open. Another tip for you guys, if you have hooded eyes or almond shaped eyes, this is going to make your eyeshadow looks pop. My biggest complaint when I really first started getting back into makeup was that I would do these eyeshadow looks and I would close my eye and I'd be going in like this and getting all that shadow in there, and then I would open up my eyes and I'd be like, where the hell did all my eyeshadow go? Well, it's because, sis, you have hooded eyes. So this is going to work a lot better. So just a little tip. As you can see, as I was gabbing on here, how easy these shadows blend. Blends beautifully. This is a gorgeous shade. You could literally just take a little bit more of this, lay it on the outer corner as well, or all over the lid, pop a highlight shade in the inner corner and the brow bone, drag a little bit on the lower lash line, and boom, you'd be done. A super simple look. But obviously, we're going to do a little bit more than that today, but just to note, you know, eyeshadow doesn't have to be super complicated at all. It's whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever suits you. Let's deepen up the outer corners. I'm going to go into this middle shade right here. I'm going to take a more flat, tapered brush for this. This is the ColourPop E16, and leaving my eye open to start. I'm going to start laying that down. Now, why I'm using a tapered brush is so that it doesn't fluff up too much into the brow, because this is the shade that I'm using to deepening things, and it kind of just stops right here and fits perfectly with my natural eye shape and doesn't fluff out the product too much. I'm telling you guys, the blend on these shadows, it is so effortless. It just doesn't take much at all. To be honest, I was never really a huge fan of Tarte's eyeshadow formula. I used to have that Tarte's Pro palette, I think it was called, and I wasn't obsessed with it. I liked it, it just wasn't my favorite. I don't know if they switched it up or maybe I just didn't give it a fair enough shot, but I mean, look at this. Blends beautifully, it's pigmented, just lays down gorgeously. All right, let's just go one little step further and deepening that up, and then we'll dip into this shade right here in the corner. Sticking with that same brush, I'm just gonna dip in one time and just kind of dab that just like that. Not blending too much, just kind of stippling that just to add a little bit more depth. So this is where I usually like to stop, right here, and then I like to start in on the lower lash line. So I'm just gonna go into this middle shade right here. I'm gonna use, this is ColourPop, this is a ColourPop brush in E19, and then just gently drag. I'm gonna focus this shade more so on the outer part of the eye, bringing it to the center and then kind of stopping there. Perfect. Now I'm gonna dip into this lighter shade right here. Sticking with the same brush, I'm not even gonna bother to clean it off or anything. I'm gonna kind of use that to kind of blow out the bottom part, blend everything out so there isn't any harsh lines, maybe bring that up around here where I already was, and then bring that closer to the center. Perfect. All right, so let's go back to the top of the lids, and then I'm just gonna go in with this champagne shade right here. It is so stunning in combination with these kind of plum floral shades. It just looks so beautiful. This could easily be a wedding look as well. You could definitely soften it up, like I said before. Maybe not go so deep on the outer part of the eye. And it could be a very beautiful wedding look. Or if you wanted something more smoky, go for it. But look how gorgeous that is together. This is one of my favorite types of looks to create. Now, another thing with hooded eyes, I actually bring metallic shades all the way up here instead of focusing it just on where my actual lid is, because this is going to give me the illusion of more open, brighter eyes. Another thing I like to do, and I think we'll do it today, is I'm gonna dip into this shade right here, and I'm gonna use that kind of right here in the center of the lid to blend that in to that deeper shade. It just creates an even more ombre effect and gives you even more dimension. This is such a beautiful lilac-y shade. It just kind of connects the dots a bit. It gives it a finishing touch. Everything kind of flows together. So beautiful, you guys. This palette, I can't. It's just so stunning. I think I'm gonna actually dip into my Lil Bloom palette to highlight the inner corner because I am obsessed with this shade right here in this palette. So perfect for an inner corner highlight. I'm just gonna take this Morphe Jaclyn Hill brush. This is the JH42. I'm gonna focus that right on the center. Like I said, I'm not even getting my brush damp, and I'm getting a lot of dimension from this. Obviously, if you want a more intense look, dip into the pan and then dampen your brush. Our friend on the motorcycle is alive and well. Heard like 4 of them since I started filming. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up, put on some mascara, and then I will be right back to give you guys my final thoughts. All right, so there you guys have it. Let me go over the finishing touches. So I went in with my Tarte Sugar Rush Easy on the Eyes Black Liner. Side note, this is the most black, intense pencil liner of all time. Hands down, one of my all-time favorites. If you're looking for a good, long-wearing, super black, super matte pencil, you need to try this out. It is so underrated. I don't know why more people aren't talking about that product. And then I went ahead and popped some Tarte C Surfer Curl Mascara on my eyes. If you've watched my channel before, you know that I am a huge fan of this mascara. And I thought, since I'm using Tarte products, why not finish it off with Tarte products? I think that this eye look is absolute perfection. Like I said, I've played with all 3 palettes and there is consistency throughout all 3. All the shadows seem to blend beautifully. I didn't come across any patchiness, dustiness, anything like that. Nothing that dragged or separated on the eyes or creased over time. That's kind of the nice thing, is that this formula is extremely long wearing. If I didn't mention it already, I prepped my eyes with some concealer and just set it down with some setting powder and then went to town. I've tried it with eyeshadow primers as well, and it works just as beautifully. So colors pop really no matter what base that you have down, which is nice. There's no learning curve or anything special you have to do to get these shadows to work beautifully. But I do have to say that my favorite palette is probably the Lil Juicy palette, and I cannot wait to see what this is kind of giving us a sneak peek into, because like I said, Tarte said that it was a sneak peek. I'm assuming that there's going to be a larger version of this, which I'm super excited about. I absolutely love the Lil Toasted palette. This would have to be my second favorite. And then last but not least, the Lil Bloom. I love this, and like I said, there was nothing wrong with the performance of it. It's just not shades that I gravitate towards all the time. This shade right here that I was using to highlight with, perfection. I almost want to pop this out of this palette and just kind of put it to the side and have it all the time because it is the perfect inner corner highlight. It is. And then as far as the Amazonian blush wardrobe goes, you can't lose. A ton of different shades in these. This is going to work on a ton of different skin tones. The blushes in here especially is really the star of the show. Each one of these trios is truly a steal. Formulas are fantastic. They blend well, they work well. As you can see for yourself, this highlight is just stunning. Everything looks so good. Leave me your comments down below and let me know if you picked up any of these products. Have you tried any of these? Have you been kind of waiting on it just to kind of get some more opinions? I know that this eyeshadow trio did sell out at one point. I think that it is restocked. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I saw somewhere that they did bring the shadow trio back. I believe that you can get this, I know for sure, through Ulta because that's where I got it. Don't know if Sephora is carrying it quite yet. And obviously you can get either one of these products as well through Tarte's website. So there you guys have it. I love you so, so much. Leave a comment down below and let me know what other holiday sets that you would like to see me review. Please subscribe if you haven't already, if you enjoy the content, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Mwah. Bye guys.